Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. And today Arsenal played Ipswich. We dominated them, beat them 4-0. And I'm not gonna lie, since the season is over, season is done and dusted and all this stuff, I thought, why the hell not? Why not just do things differently? Let's just say it that way. Why just not do things differently? Basically, what I meant that basically is that with season done, we are not doing anything in Premier League. Champions League is week and a half away, to be honest. Why not just do a random Q&A session, talk about random stuff, not specifically related to Arsenal, but just talk about other things. Let's talk about just Premier League, football, life, anything in general, basically. If you have any questions, just don't be afraid to ask. We can discuss them, tackle them, all that good stuff. So, nothing too much regarding Arsenal. We won. Saka has a bit of a knock. He was limping a bit, but he got also ice tape to him. Looks like he's fine. Arteta said he looks to be fine, so not too much going into that one. Merino as a striker much better than the midfielder to some extent, although he looked very decent as a midfield as well, and it looks like that's gonna be the case basically against PSG as well. Martinelli has found his scoring boots, it looks, and all this stuff. Trossard scored too, Saka missed few chances, but besides that, let's be real, nothing much to talk about, so I thought, why not? Why not today? Just do it. Chill, relaxing vibes, it's Easter, happy Easter to everyone who's celebrating and all that stuff. And yeah, let's just do some Q&A, let's ask some questions, let's talk, let's discuss, let's just do a casual stream, let's just put it that way, very casual stream. So, as I said, if you have any questions, just shoot it at me, not literally, just poor choice of words, just throw them in the comments, we just tackle them, discuss them, talk. I can answer pretty much everything you want to know about me, about my thoughts on certain subjects, topics, and all that stuff. So smash the like button, subscribe if you're new around here. 460 subscribers, 40 away. 40, I don't know, 40, I don't know, freaking hell, 40 away from 500 and all that stuff. So let's get straight into it. Big up Pepper. Vibes FC, basically, that's what today we are. Vibes FC. This is gonna be a long one, innit? We can just get to Vibes FC. Am I going mad? Why do I see so many tweets praising Odegaard? Well, basically, I'm gonna take my cap off as an Arsenal fan. Today, he just looked better than he usually does. Based on the whole season, today he actually had a semi-decent game. Let's just put it that way. He wasn't great. He was bang average, but overall he looked somewhat decent. He actually took a shot from outside the box that hit the post, unlucky in that regard. He wasn't great, still wasn't one of the best on the pitch, but as always we talk about Odegaard and we discuss these things. When team is doing well, when team is leading quite a bit and there is no pressure, he tends to look very good all the time. So it's like basically that's what it is in that regard. So yeah, I think that's because that's why people are praising Odegaard. Also, basically, people are used to him being awful in the recent times or useless, so basically today he did some things and it's all like rebirth or something, like, you know, on Easter Jesus rose, so Odegaard also has risen. Basically, that's what it feels like. What made you first start supporting Arsenal? Oh, bloody hell. Well, basically, I've been an Arsenal fan since 2002/3, depending how you look at it. Let's just put it that way. There was one goal that we scored against, I don't remember who it was even now anymore against. Either it was Birmingham or it was Blackburn. One of the two teams we scored. I think it was the FA Cup and everything. And the way we scored, the way we played, kind of, well, made me pay attention much to it. Now, I need to put a disclaimer on this, because as I was growing up, I didn't have subscriptions to anyone. I didn't have a TV in general like that. I had a TV. I had one TV on the whole house, and it had basically standard bog 5 channels which were available locally in my country at the time. Didn't have cable, didn't have anything like that. And obviously every single evening on every single channel of the 5 there was sports news. And obviously that was one thing I really wanted to watch after the news in general, world news. And there was not much Arsenal talk, but and there was one time when I just tuned in, and they were talking about cup results in the in one of the biggest games and something like that. I don't remember anymore in that detail, but it was basically involving Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, and some other big teams all across Europe, basically cup games. And they showed goals that were scored and everything, and they showed Arsenal goal, one of those, right? And basically that goal, the way the stadium erupted, the way, obviously remember it was still at Highbury at the time. By the way, it was Highbury at the time. We were not at Emirates, so maybe that was also the reason. But we scored, we did everything. I think Titi scored that goal as well, by the way. So basically, something clicked in me, basically, that I need to support them. It's been 22 years now since I'm supporting Arsenal, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But ultimately, I can tell you this much. The first game I saw on TV, specifically, TV, live, was when it was 2011. Seriously, 2011. I've been an Arsenal fan since 2002, but the first game which I saw on TV was on 2011. And that also was mostly thanks to the fact that I finally got a PC in 2011. At the time I was 2011? I was fucking hell maths. 18. Legit, I was 18 at the time when I first saw. So I basically had a job as well. I was going to uni and everything. So I purchased myself a subscription. So that was the first game I saw in general. Afterwards, and obviously during that time, in the span of since 2002 to 2011, those 9 years, I kid you not, I was like a 90-year-old. I was reading newspapers to keep up with the football scores, specifically in Premier League regarding Arsenal. I was watching TV shows. Only way I could access internet was in library. So I went there and I was just checking random stuff. I was checking on Arsenal, on the results, on goals, assists and everything. YouTube as well was a thing since 2005 only, so it wasn't much on there as well. So basically, I just read articles. And that's about it. Only videos and things I started to see, again, was only when I got my own PC and when I got the internet and everything. That was the first time. And since then, basically, I've been watching the games because there are websites where you can access archive files, archive videos, archive games, and everything to look in the past. So basically, I have watched, of course, how we got screwed out of the Champions League and everything, although Champions League was on TV, because Champions League, despite only that I had 5 channels on the TV, it was one of the big sports things always got broadcasted. So I haven't, since 2000, kid you not, since 2000, I haven't missed a single game of Euros, World Cup, Olympic Games, and qualifiers and stuff like that. I have watched every single game that's available. I have watched every single game, local football, and I have watched every single game in the big competitions. Obviously, now that I have access to everything, I watch, kid you not, about 10 to 20 games a day. Either it's in background or I'm directly watching. Sometimes I have 2 screens. I have 2 games on one screen, 2 or 3 games on the other screen. I sometimes watch like multi-screens. Feels like weird when I watch multi-football and everything from different leagues that are happening at the same time. But hey, I just love the sport and everything. So yeah, it's not like a per se that I was watching live or I was watching on the live broadcast. I genuinely was just sitting here and I just saw a news on TV. That's about it. And that TV as well at the time, right, wasn't the flat screen TVs. It was like the big TVs with the big lamp in it, like, you know, from the late 1990s and the early 2000s, where it basically was this big, right, and this deep. Like, genuinely, it was like a massive box, and it weighed genuinely a ton as well. When I was throwing it out, and it was actually a nightmare, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. It's not like I watched Arsenal for the longest time. I just have watched lots of replays, lots of archives and everything regarding Champions League final, Champions League semi-finals, FA Cup finals and everything. Obviously, as soon as I got subscription, I was watching pretty much everything. Why is Arsenal... Whoa, this is not good. Okay, why is Arsenal not linked with Osimhen? A proven goal scorer at the highest level, Champions League and international football. Is there something wrong with his attitude that I have missed? To be honest, I have no idea. We have been linked with Osimhen, but that was at a time when Napoli's owner was asking basically 100+ million for him, right? Because they also Napoli paid 70 million to sign him from Lille at the time when they just signed him. 70 million, kid you not. So that's why they want premium money for him as well. And Arsenal were looking at the time when we also got linked with Kvaratskhelia at the same time. And it was quoted that if they wanted to buy both, it would be about 250 million to sign both. And then Arsenal obviously was instantly out of it since we have never signed a striker. We then signed Jesus instead. But also, it's kind of weird that fast forward 2 years, Kvaratskhelia for 65 million moves to PSG, and Osimhen most likely for about 70 million is gonna move to wherever. But the fact that Arsenal are not linked with him, it's very, very interesting. Either it's something to do with certain aspects of the game or what, I have no idea. Because Osimhen for me strikes like one of those strikers Arsenal actually should be aiming at, should be going after. So it's a weird one. It genuinely is a weird one. What I'm gonna do today, by the way, I'm gonna do this. I need to 900, 950. Does that work? Almost. So I need to make it even bigger. 1000. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. I made it bigger, so that works. But yeah, that is regarding that. I'm kind of surprised Arsenal are not. Gyökeres scored another hat-trick yesterday. He's the number one name for Arsenal. It looks that way. Andrea Berta is a big fan of him. He wanted to sign also Gyökeres also last summer for Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid decided not to, and they signed Alvarez instead. Now it looks like with the fact that his price has dropped by about 30 odd million, in general, Arsenal are gonna go for him. Obviously, they are still links with Sesko and everything, right? But it doesn't feel like that safe that it's gonna happen in those situations. So we'll see how that goes. But it looks like he should be the number one target. The worry is if we don't get him, next target is Benjamin Sesko, and that again I don't want to see whatsoever. Similar to me, I didn't have any Sky subscription until 2009-ish. See, you at least had chance to actually subscribe to Sky Sports, right? I didn't even have that. Like, I'm not from UK, so I don't have any of those things. I just basically YOLO'd it because at the time, actually, the one good thing was also that my local football was very high-end. So I could watch Ventspils play Skonto, Liepājas Metalurgs play Skonto, Rēzekne play against Ventspils and stuff like that, Daugavpils, Dinaburg or Diton play against Skonto. Those were the big teams. I remember still Ventspils playing against Barcelona, Skonto playing against Barcelona and teams like that, Inter Milan and everything in Champions League qualifiers and all this stuff. At the time as well, in 2004, we shocked the Europe when we knocked out Turkey in the elimination stages, and we qualified the first and only time so far in our country's history for the Euros. Verpakovsky scored the first goal against Czech Republic at the end of the first half. We lost the game 3-1 against Milan Baroš, Karl Poborski and all those players, right? Then we got also annihilated 3-0 by Netherlands at the time with Ruud van Nistelrooy, and that team was absolutely insane. And we got robbed massively against Germany because Verpakovskis was one-on-one and Oliver Kahn ran into his defender at the time, right? And since he just ran between them two, it got called a foul on our striker. It was total corruption in that regard. We got no respect because we are a small country and nobody basically respects us in general in those terms. So it was quite tough pill to swallow because we actually should have won that game 1-0. And Germany got saved for massive embarrassment in that regard. Obviously, these days we have two big teams in local football. I watch local football, obviously, but unfortunately, from those times, I had my favorite team locally at the time. But unfortunately, it went bankrupt, I think a decade ago, something like that. So it's not actually doesn't exist anymore. And since then, I don't actually have any affiliation as I support any of the local teams. I watch local football. I don't mind that. I support teams and everything, but I don't have it anymore. So Arsenal is my only team in that regard. Obviously, if I didn't choose Arsenal, it would have been quite interesting who I would have chose because there were some other teams that I really loved to watch, at least from the highlights I got at the time. And when I got to look a bit more, the way I chose Arsenal, to some extent, I cannot put it into words why I chose Arsenal, because at the time there were also highlights from AC Milan and Inter, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Galacticos to some extent as well from those times and everything. I was watching all that through highlights from Sports News. So it's kind of weird that I kind of have hold on to Arsenal for long as I have to, and I didn't change my alliances in that regard at the early stages because I wasn't watching football. I'm kind of shocked. And now it's 23 years later, and, well, yeah, it is what it is, I guess, in that regard. I did see the odd game through those, such as 2003-04 game at Old Trafford. Oh, that was a good one. That is a unique one, I'm not gonna lie. Younger don't realize that back then football wasn't as accessible and far fewer games were televised. It was insane at that time. I kid you not. If you were not specifically from UK, and maybe if you were abroad and you didn't have a big footballing culture in your nation, right? You didn't get those things unless you paid, let's just say, 50 odd year at the time. We didn't have euros, but comparatively euros a month for a satellite dish where you get, let's just say, 50 extra channels, and then you get those games. Besides that, you just didn't get. You either go to the stadium or read it in the news, hear it on the radio, watch sports highlights in the evening after the news and everything. That was the only ways. And it felt like you missed the world, literally, when you are not updated, because you go to school, you go outside, you go to training, everyone's talking about these things, and you just stand there like a moron because you have no idea what is going on. Like, legitimately, that was one of those worst things in that regard. And these days, in a matter of seconds, you can find pretty much the address of every single person in the world, what it feels like. Those days, you barely could find scores on newspapers because there were many games that don't get televised, many games that didn't get even reported in the news or radios or wherever. You just have to wait at some point when you can figure it out because you didn't see it. You just had to pray and see that you can find. I take my daughters to watch Arsenal's women's team. Do you watch any? Yeah, I do. I watch the Real Madrid games and everything. I don't watch the Women's Premier League as much, but I keep tabs on things, more or less I do. And we just lost to Lyon 2-1 at home. It will be a tough job to claw it back away because Lyon at home, Lyon women's team, together with Barcelona, they're one of the two favorites to win the Women's Champions League. So it will be very interesting to see, can we do it away? Because that definitely will be a massive, massive test. Lyon definitely are a very tough opponent at home in that regard. So 2-1 is not the worst score to lose at home. At the same time, you would have preferred to win it because away in France, it's gonna be hell on earth. I'm not gonna lie. The footballing culture it's much different there as well in many, many ways, shapes, and forms. I was young in the 03-04 season, but I remember watching the game with my granddad, him shouting, "Have that, you Those are the good times. Those are the good times. Seriously, those are the good times. When like, football was very simple in those times. Like, I'm not talking about social media anymore. I'm not talking about certain aspects of the game. Football was very simple. These days, there is statistics, which obviously was back then, but there was no XG, XA, assists, pre-assists, escape rate, field tilt, shots on target, shots off target. There were, but not to some same extent, and all this stuff. There was not such a deep dive. Passes forward, passes backward, percentage of the passes going forward, percentage of the passes going sideways, and all this stuff. There was no such thing. There was, as far as I remember those days, there were about 10 stats. There was scoreline, there was shots on target, there was possession, there was corners, offsides, yellow cards, red cards, and maybe some other stuff here or there. Besides that, that was it. It was a pretty simple game. These days, you have to genuinely be a rocket scientist for NASA pretty much to be a sports fan. Because these days, you're just not a fan of your football club. You need to deep dive into stats, into everything, to basically be on top of what's happening at your club. Unless you're just a casual fan who goes to games, supports the club, which is not wrong. I don't shame that. But if you are a hardcore fan or something like that, you need to be legitimately top of pretty much everything these days. And that has kind of taken away something from football. Same goes with VAR, because it has taken away the raw emotion and everything. Because VAR in general, it's not a bad thing, it's a very good thing. It's just the imbeciles that don't know how to use it who are in charge at the end of the day. Some certain rulings as well, for example, need to be changed in terms of VAR, in yellow cards and everything, because For example, VAR can't check yellow cards, right? It can check red cards, it cannot check yellow cards. But there should be a rule that VAR can check secondary yellow cards that can result into a red card. But there isn't such a rule. Yellow is a yellow, and by letter of the law, it doesn't get checked. That was an issue. Where was it? It was an issue in United Lyon game when Tolisso got the second yellow, because that second yellow Tolisso got, right, was very debatable to some extent. And VAR and referees cannot check it because it's a yellow by default. And it is what it is, obviously. Exactly. Passes per defensive action, field tilt, zone 14. Exactly. All these things that at the end of the day means F all if you don't win the game. We have seen Barcelona have 86 something percent possession, right, against Celtic in Champions League, and they lost to Celtic 2-1. It was 2010, 2011, early 2010s. It was when Celtic played Barcelona in Champions League in Glasgow. And yeah, Barcelona had 86% possession and everything. They were dominating everything, and then they lost. Samaris scored, I think it was, or someone like that. It was actually kind of nuts if you think about it. Do you follow any teams in South America, specifically from Brazilian or Argentinian leagues? It's kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. I follow the scores for Boca Juniors, of course, River Plate, Independiente, Arsenal, ironically enough. There's, of course, Botafogo, Vasco da Gama, Goiás, Coritiba, and all these teams. I follow them. I watch the results, I follow them. Flamenco as well. I know results of certain games, of certain things and that. But for me to watch those games, it's almost impossible. Because for me, when the games are live in Brazil, for example, it's 3, 4 a.m. my time. And obviously I have work, I have stuff, I have family, everything. I just cannot sleep. I have to sleep in that regard. I need to reset. Let's just say, if I was a fan from US, right, I would watch them 100%. And in those regards as well, it's kind of pissing me off because I'll admit I am a bit of a gamer. I love playing games, and one of my obviously guilty pleasures in that regard is FIFA, EAFC. Right now, I've played every single FIFA/EAFC since FIFA 98, since those days, right? And in 2018, 19, EA lost the licenses to Brazilian League specifically. And that really pissed me off because there's no Brazilian League in career mode. They just lost the ability to Mexican League and everything. That is also insane. And the closest thing I have gone to watching the latest Brazilian game I watched from Brazilian League was the first game Neymar came back to Santos. Because how I found out about Neymar was very random. It was when I was watching Santos, ironically enough. And that was at a time when I didn't have school, I didn't have uni, I could have stayed late during nights and everything. I was watching it then. Which makes me sound very, very old, given the Neymar's age and what career he has had in this time since I first time saw him, right? But in general, I just follow scorelines in this regard. I would love to watch it on consistent basis, but I just cannot. It's very impossible to that extent. For example, as well, currently Real Madrid are playing Athletic Bilbao at home. And that is the case. If I had the second screen, for example, open, right, I would watch the game, but I don't have the second screen. I'm using the monitor for something else. I need to update my PC. I need to buy a new PC and everything. So still 0-0 Real Madrid vs Athletic Bilbao. AC Milan are playing Atalanta. It's also still 0-0. Lyon are losing Saint Etienne, and St. Pauli just drew against Bayer Leverkusen as well. And yeah, that was a very long-winded answer to your question, but I watch. I don't watch per se. If I get a chance sometimes when there's early game, right, like 8 or 10 p.m. my time, I watch it if I have a chance. Besides that, I unfortunately don't have time. But I would love to. I genuinely would love to. I would say that Brazilian League, Argentinian leagues in general is worth the watch just for the sheer experience, because as much as I'm not live, I'm not in the stadium, especially when there's the derbies going on, you can feel the support, the energy, everything that builds and steams from the stadium and the fans through the screen. The footballing culture in those countries is 10 times more insane than, for example, in certain European countries. The footballing culture, the way they support is also totally insane. And that is something I just watch it for experience sometimes, because that is completely different gravy. Because watching some of these local derbies, as I said, like Liver Plate versus Boca Juniors, of course Galatasaray versus Fenerbahce, Rangers versus Celtic and stuff like that, it's absolutely phenomenal. At least as a fan, right? Especially as a neutral, if you don't have to support one of those teams, because then it's absolutely insane. But it's absolutely phenomenal. And if you are watching Premier League right now, the derbies like North London Derby, it's just another game, right? You can see some rougher moments here or there on occasion, but definitely it's not the same. Games between Liverpool and United, not the same. Games between Arsenal United, it's not the same. There is, if you look at in Premier League, you could say there are derbies. On paper, yes, there are derbies, right? But the way the players act on the pitch during games, even fans to some extent, it's not it. Fans have bigger rivalries between fans, right, than there is actually on the pitch. Because final whistle blows, you can see Spurs fans hugging Arsenal fans, United fans, Arsenal players hugging United players, Arsenal players hugging Spurs players. In those times, when I started just watching football, generally there was no hugging. You came close to one of the opposing players, he gets booted into the shin. He gets drop kicked in the head instantly. There's nothing on that. Internet didn't have the same facilities and couldn't support streaming until 2000. Exactly. You could say that that's the biggest reasoning why. And as big of a blessing internet has been, to some extent, it's also one of the biggest curses you can get. Because internet has kind of, this will sound very controversial, but also to a certain extent is ruining society. This is very weird. This is a kind of a weird place we are going into. But obviously, I might sound very old right now, but for example, the human contact, reading books, finding everything by reading stuff out, reading newspapers, reading books, reading publications and everything, it's one thing, right? Because you have to absorb the whole information. So basically you know how everything works. When you go on the internet, you type in blah 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 blah, it takes you half a second basically to find out the key instances. It's very lazy work to some extent, because many times you just do copy paste scenario and you don't even kind of focus on what is going on there. And that is for me a very big travesty in that regard, because I would love to some extent somehow for people, actually, for example, it should be to some extent mandatory for kids to read books, for example. Not many, maybe one book per month or something like that, right? It should, because at least that way kids would know how to basically comply themselves. Because reading books improves your vocabulary, it improves your imagination and everything, which basically is one of the biggest reasons and biggest helps you have in the future. Because when the going gets tough and you are put on the spot in a high pressure situation, no internet is gonna help you. It's only you and your mind. And in those ways, when you read books, it kind of helps you in that regard. It helps you to use your creative thinking. It kind of makes you use your whole mind to develop certain aspects and certain angles of your mind, which you may see, which you don't notice even when you read books, when you read articles, journals and everything, right? Magazines. You don't even notice that. And you don't even pay attention to that when in a certain situations you use it. But overall, it is what it is, I guess. It's the price we pay for the modern technology, AI solutions, and DNH these days, I guess. Remember when Lee Gunner came across a stat called badge? That's the same as in Bundesliga. They have this escape rate and crap like that. Don't even. Yes, I do. I do watch WrestleMania yesterday, the day one. I'm not sure I'm gonna watch it tonight, but definitely gonna watch it tomorrow morning. Like that. I don't follow it as much as I used to. I used to follow it way much more. But these days, obviously, there is certain things take priorities in life, because you can follow these things, but at the same time, it's not the same. It's like it's very very different. It's same as, for example, you all know that I have Arsenal channel, right? But when I was thinking about setting up this channel, right, in less than a month, it will be 1 year basically since my first upload on this channel. In less than a month, uh, it wasn't even in the books that it's gonna be an Arsenal channel. I have massive like spreadsheet put out. Basically, I know it sounds like I'm a nerd, and I am. Don't You can laugh at me as much as you want, but I had pros and cons written down. Whether this should be an Arsenal channel, whether this should be a football channel in general, whether this should be an NBA basketball channel, whether this should be an F1 channel, or whether this should be a wrestling channel. Wrestling channel obviously was on bottom of the list because it's completely different situations and everything that goes on. And on top two, ironically enough, it was Arsenal and it was NBA. Interestingly enough. Make from that as you will. I just put it that way. And the reason I chose Arsenal, it's pretty much obvious, because I'm an Arsenal fan since 2002, right? It's been 23 years. But ultimately, I nearly picked out to this to be to do an NBA channel, but only drawback is the time zones. That was my only drawback, because by the time I can put out a stream or a video regarding certain situations happening in the NBA, certain games, results, my thoughts on it, it would be evening my time, which means in 3-4 hours, there's already next games happening. Since it's 82 game season, it is trades and everything during the trade time, and it is playoffs. So I wouldn't have the time, I wouldn't have the actual ability to post things as they develop. With Arsenal, I can do that, and I still am not on top of things. Because many times things happen during morning, during day, right? And at the same time, things happen during morning, during day. And I wish I could do it. I could stream, I could make a video right on the spot, right? But I can't. I'm at work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I could make a short from work on my phone and post it on YouTube, right? I could do that. But to some extent, as much as it sounds cool, it's also not the same. And that there are lots of things that go into me for me thinking this. I kind of believe that I should start making maybe YouTube shorts. Maybe I should start doing again my TikTok, because I have TikTok channel dedicated to this channel where I haven't posted for half a year basically. Because for me it's very hard work in terms of I finish the stream, I cut the stream to certain pieces, I find out what I need, I edit it and everything, I render it, then I upload it, add the captions, everything. It takes time. And unfortunately, without help, I cannot make this work. And yes, it sounds very weird and everything, but at the same time, for me, this is not a job, it's a hobby. If in future, I'm fortunate enough to be 1 in a million, 1 in 5 million of the people that actually make this as a job, then I definitely will reassess things, or I will come close to that. I will reassess things in terms of TikTok, wherever industry goes basically, whether it's TikTok, Kick, Twitch, wherever it goes. YouTube obviously looks like it's gonna be here for some time unless it shuts down and everything. Then I will reassess, maybe hiring another person who does these editings and uploads for me and stuff like that. But for now, I'm just a single man doing my single thing and everything, and it's mostly streams and videos. One thing I want to get back to though is cutting up some bits, like 10 to 15 minute talking points from streams, and put it out on my YouTube channel as a video separate. That is one. No, I'm not. I'm not married. See? I am 31. I'm going to be 32 this year. Is the Scottish Premier League competitive enough, or should Celtic Rangers join the Premier League? I will love. I'm not sure whether this will be an unpopular opinion, as I'm gonna say this right now, but Scottish League, it's good enough, But for me personally, Celtic and Rangers would not survive Premier League. That for me is the thing. Yes, they might survive against certain teams, but in a span of 38 games, they would get eaten alive. Now, the thing is though, if you basically put them in championship and give them, let's just say, 2-3 seasons to grow, maybe sign certain players and everything, because let's be real, Celtic and Rangers actually have bigger pool than many championship sides, let's be real. And they can buy certain players to get into Premier League, and when they get into it, they can kind of solidify their place even as lower end mid-table team, about 16th, 15th, or and then from that getting the payments, TV deals and everything, expand. I can see it happening that way. But overall, I'm not so sure. Scotland needs football. And if they lose Rangers and Celtic, Glasgow Celtic, it's gonna disappear. You're gonna lose something that you might never come back. Potentially, you can never come back from. That for me is the biggest thing. Every single league needs its big dogs that carries their name in Europe as well. And Celtic and Rangers are the teams that do that for you, right? Because everyone in the world knows who those teams are. And for Scotland's football in general, in my opinion, that is more important than them getting potentially in the Premier League. Yes, the money would be cool because the money is insane in Premier League, but the gain is not as big as the return you probably would get, because your local league definitely would suffer quite heavily. That is the biggest thing for me personally. Bundesliga has 18 teams by design. They don't need more. They have winter breaks and everything. They don't need. It has been done that by design. Ligue 1 is very underrated league. To some extent. At the same time, you could make arguments on and who is your wrestling goat, like John Cena. For me, is the Undertaker. Simple and sweet and sour. For me, it's the Undertaker. When that gong hits, you know it's curtains. Let's just put it that way. For me, it's the Undertaker. What's the origin meaning of the name Mr. Robo 19 TV? Nothing too much, to be honest, because Mr. as in Mr. I don't know why. Robo is the way I used to get called in school because my name is Robert. So that's pretty much coming from that. And TV, I just wanted something to put added to the name because, and I'm gonna show you this, and you probably wouldn't know. This was the first thing I wanted to build my channel and name it like this. Sorry, I'm gonna make it a bit smaller so you can see. It should have been this. This was my first idea for the channel. Latvian Gunner. Because I'm from Latvia, I'm an Arsenal fan. This was the idea for my channel at first. I have no idea why I switched it to Mr. Robo 19 at the end of the day. But for me, this was first. This was the first idea. And to be honest, I kind of like the design of this as well. I made it all myself and everything. I kind of like the design. Like, I think I should have, yeah, you see, I also had this. I also had the PvP made. So yeah, that was my idea at the time. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about it. I genuinely cannot explain why I didn't go with it. But yeah, I don't know. But I guess it was mostly because my Twitter handle, X handle, before even I set up this channel, was Mr. Robo 19. So I guess it went basically from that. I had the TV in the end and everything, just so it is like all that crap and all that jazz. But yeah, I guess it came from that. It basically comes from that. But the first idea was Latvian Gunner in general. That was my first idea. And I don't want to rebrand anymore, ironically enough. And about who is your favorite football player of all time? For me, well, I can go only from who I have seen live, right? So for me, it is Zlatan and Kaká. Two. I don't have one. For me, it's Zlatan and Kaká. I could arguably say Ronaldinho as well, but I don't know. It's very like the preference of everything. It's for me, it's Zlatan and Kaká, and currently my favorite player, one of the favorite players, if I had to say my top 5 favorite players currently, it's still Isco. Ironically enough, it is still Isco. Prime Nelly. Do you like panel shows, or are they not your thing? I know they aren't for everyone, such as yeah. I know Nick doesn't like them. I know. For me, this will sound very weird because I'm not too sure people will get it because people are very different. But I am an introvert person. Let's just say it that way. I am the introvert person, right? And I do my things my own way, and I would love to have people on my channel. Two things. Unfortunately, financially, I cannot spare the money monthly and to what it accumulates yearly to buy a subscription on StreamYard, basically, to have a chance to have multiple people on my channel, first of all. And second of all, this probably is the reason why I am where I am, and people who have started like half a year ago, 5 months ago, have already overtaken me in terms of subscribers, in terms of views, and everything, is because I am not that confident of a person to go up to a bigger streamer and say, do you want to come on my channel, or can I come to your channel? Ironically enough, I'm not that type of a person to do so. Like, for example, I would love, for example, to talk to Hooks, because we are in the same group chat, we talk about things. Or I've been on Aaron's stream, Aaron Talks Football. I've been on Saad's stream, Saad's Football Corner. I've been on those streams on once or twice, because they dropped the stream in, they dropped the link in the chat and everything. But ultimately, I don't know, I'm just not that type of a person who basically goes up to someone and say, hey, can I do this, can I do that with you? It's probably the reason why I am basically where I am, potentially. But ultimately, for me, it is what it is. I cannot afford to basically buy the subscription, basically, for me, to have the StreamYard so I can have 2-3 people on my channel, first of all, which is the first thing. I know it costs about $45 a month, which doesn't seem a lot technically, but for a yearly thing, to have to do it consistently, right, with 12 months, it comes down to what, $450 plus nice $540, which for me at this current situation is very expensive. Let's just put it that way, right? With having situations in real life going on and all this stuff. So unfortunately, I just cannot, right? And the other thing, as I said, it's me. It's just my personality that I cannot just simply go up to a person, just go into their DMs and say, hey, can I come to your channel? Would you mind coming on my channel? Because first things first, I need that subscription or this, so I can put up multiple people there, and then I can start doing that. But then again, I'm not that confident of a person, which is very weird, which shouldn't be the case, because I have no problem sitting here talking to you guys, voicing my opinion. I have no problem with public speaking, because my whole life I've played theater in front of hundreds and thousands of people. I've been to contests, to when I speak in front of elite level, Europe level actors and judges as well. And I've gone very high places in theater, in public speaking, and all this stuff. I have played competitive sports, team sports, in local national level as well, with many hundreds of people watching me. I have no problem with that. At the same time, I'm not that confident of a person to go up to someone and say, hey, do you want to do this with me, and I can do this with you and everything? I don't know. I'm not afraid, but I'm not that type of person. Hence why, potentially, I don't even know if I will ever collab with anyone. Which is very weird, because I have no problem having people on my channel discussing football. I have no problem going to other people's channels and discussing opinions. No problem with that. But to initiate the actual situation, I don't know, something in me says that that is not me. I prefer club football. 100% I prefer club football. League, Jorginho, Ronaldinho, Spink. Yeah. Best league in football. Best league in football, in your opinion. La Liga. Yeah, Undertaker. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Latvian Gunner. Wait, you're from Latvia. How do you speaking? Like, I speak 5 languages. I just say it that way. And ironically enough, English isn't even my second language. English is my third language. And ironically enough, to some extent, I kind of get the feeling sometimes that I speak English better than I speak even my native language. So it's a weird one. I'm not gonna lie, but I speak 5 languages and I speak 2 more a tiny bit. So I technically can speak 7 languages if I need to. And at the end of the day, yeah, English is my third language in this situation, and I speak it. I have no problems. I can communicate and I can express, write, and do everything. I have no problems with that. And in English exam, which I basically had to give to finish 12th grade, I got 100%. I got the best possible result. Personally, though, Kenny Omega is the best in-ring wrestler of all time with Bryan Danielson. I can see that, definitely I can see that. There are very few like actually masterful technicians in terms of what they do in the ring. I think Seth Rollins is very technically very good. He's a very massive technician, very good technician as well. Randy Orton as well. He's very, very good in that regard. Obviously, age is taking a toll, but it is what it is. But Kenny Omega definitely is one of those big ones as well. Definitely, 100%. No disrespect to the others, but when it comes to in-ring matches, those, yeah, to some extent, yeah. Zlatan as well, huh? I see. Neymar in League One was underrated. To some extent. Cannot even give him to that full credit. I was thinking of Aaron's channel in my question. His channel is blowing up as he's hosting panel shows, but he's very extroverted. Yeah, that is the thing. Aaron also, like, it helps as well, basically, that he's also connected with many big people. Let's just put it that way. It definitely helps in the business. There isn't a business where it doesn't help when you are basically connected with big names. Obviously, if you want to be big, you have to have connections with big names to some extent. Otherwise, you grow slowly and steadily on your own pace, and you can see basically you will see everyone overtake you. But yeah, Aaron is very in that way extroverted person in that regard, 100%. And best of luck to him. He's a top guy. He has a very good channel. If you haven't already, go subscribe to him. Iron Tarks Arsenal. Very good guy. Very nice guy as well. Also wants to see Arsenal succeed as well. So as much as I have talked to him on his stream and in chats and in general. So yeah, he's a very good guy in that regard. What TV shows do I watch? This will be a weird one, but I really like criminal detective shows. I can watch NCIS, Criminal Minds, CSI, Miami. I love those. And then there are some comedy shows, of course, like Friends and stuff like that. And on occasion, obviously, I watch some sitcoms from my childhood, like Boy Meets World, Full House, Step by Step, and stuff like that. And of course, 2.5 Men, that is a classic. Do you think who do you think is the face of football now, in my opinion? Face of football currently? I don't even know. I would say maybe Salah, even. Mbappe is the face of football because of the hype as well. Salah doesn't get as much hype, for example, as Mbappe gets, but it's a very subjective topic to talk about. For me, if it was up to me, I would say it is Salah, it is Mbappe as well, of course, and it is Vinicius Jr. Those three. But hey, in that regard, that's funny. That's funny, as I suck at public speaking, etc. But I have no problem going up to random. No, I have no problem going up to random people as well. I have no problem asking for time, opening doors for other people, striking up a random conversation if I need to in this situation, right? But by default, I'm a very introverted person. I much rather let's just say, sit alone and do my own thing rather than just push my opinion on other people, rather than just go out of my way in terms of speaking my mind just to prove everyone wrong. Because there are many situations where I speak my mind, people say you're speaking crap, and at the end of the day, I'm proven right, and nobody gives credit to me for that. And at the end of the day, I don't speak at all, pretty much in that regard anymore. I've been like shut down so many times I don't even care anymore. It's if you don't want to listen to some extent to voice of reason, then well, screw you in that regard. Yeah, introverts are you are more, I think you are an ambivert type of person, basically, in this regard. You, for example, you don't like public speaking and stuff like that, but you can go out, right? It's like ambivert, because I had to do these tests for my job. Ironically enough, when I applied for my job, I had to do personality test, I had to do IQ test, I had to do many tests, like stuff like that and everything, and it was kind of nuts, I'm not gonna lie. But I finally got to find out my IQ in terms of that is kind of nice, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, by default, I've done this personality test about 4 times, and all the times I've been introverted. 4 different tests, all saying introverted, so I'm gonna take my word for that. But yeah, for me, the biggest excitement when I was doing those tests was my IQ test, because I always wanted to do one, and I got a certified person to judge me and reevaluate me for that, so that was kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. He's a technician for reasons, Seth. Yeah, exactly. He should have beaten Roman for me, not Cody, even though I love Cody. Yeah, but he won yesterday. Paul Heyman gave him the cheer, and he spunked everyone out of their minds. It will be interesting to see what's going to happen today in WrestleMania 2. John Cena, AJ Styles is up there too, because AJ was having a banger. Yeah, AJ Styles as well, it's very interesting. It's a shame that he joined WWE, I would say 5 years too late. Because AJ Styles, under Triple H's leadership, I think he could have gone into a whole different stratosphere dimension of that regard. 100%. I think he knows the G and Dan Potts IRL. If you speak about Aaron, that could be the case, right? I have seen him on Aaron's Northside's League Gunners streams. He's on FamZone, Normski's streams. He's everywhere pretty much as well, just like Hooks and everyone else. And yeah, and that's also the biggest thing. Even to go on these shows, you need to have free time when you get the invite. And unfortunately for me, I work till 5 p.m. my time, 5:30 basically. I'm home past 6, and most of the streams that these guys do are during daytime, so I cannot even jump on if I get invited to, unless they do a separate stream during evening time. That is also the case. Saka should be converted to left wing. It's not gonna happen. Teta wants for him to cut inside. It will be interesting to see Saka on the left, by the way, and then we could sign on maybe a right winger. Yeah, no, they don't. Only for Spain and Barcelona you can see that they interchange the wings. Maybe some other teams do as well. For example, in Premier League, you almost never see that, which is a big travesty, I'm not gonna lie. Exactly, robotic one position and you just go with the flow, and that's about it. Saka right wing, Salah right wing, no other position, the wingers don't say. Yeah, Ronaldo did it in 08. Yeah, it was Jose Mourinho masterstroke when he put Ronaldo from left wing to striker. Changed up the whole dynamic and genuinely changed Ronaldo's career to some extent in a direction which maybe he didn't even want it to go, but at the same time he trusted Mourinho, and that's why Ronaldo is today who he is. Like Mourinho in that regard, I prefer not to speak. Look at Nico Williams, great player, but I don't see him turning defender inside out. He's just really quick and can't dribble winger nowadays. Don't scary edge. Yeah, but Nico Williams as well, he's a right winger. More a right winger than the left winger. Same goes, for example, for Rodrigo. Rodrigo by default is a left winger. Just like Mbappe by default is a left winger. Yet Real Madrid basically play with 3 left wingers up top. And hence why they also kind of don't perform as good as they should have. Rank your top 5 sports in order. If you my top 5 sports. Now, I need a bit of a clarification. I have played, I like to watch, or what? I need clarification on that one. And the managers know this. Yeah, not all of them, some of them. And unfortunately, One of them is ours. The other big one is mastering the redirects and finding suitable slots in the day to go live chat. There, no. Yeah, the redirects I cannot do, for example. Redirects start from 500 or 1,000 subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. So I cannot even redirect. People can redirect to me, and I've been redirected to me about 2 times, I think, in my streaming life of 1 year nearly. Redirects I cannot even do. It's starting from 1,000 subscribers, and only then you can redirect. That is also a big case. But yeah, in that regard, yeah, I don't mind even. I can sit here and waffle about football and Arsenal as much as I like. And I love that you guys are here, but also I can speak. But how everything started, I was speaking basically to nobody. And that was also the case. Yeah, that is the redirects and everything. For example, channel monetization as well is from 500 or 1,000 subscribers as well. So hence, this, subscriptions, donations, and all this stuff also starts from 500 or 1,000 subscribers. Everything has its own goals that need to be achieved. And basically, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I checked, for example, my channel, I need to reach 500 subscribers to apply for channel monetization, for example. That's the only thing I'm missing. I have the views, I have the watch hours and everything. I only don't have the subscribers. When the team attack knows they're just boring. Remember when Prime Man U used to strike fear? And dude, I remember Jose Mourinho's counter-attacking football with Ozil, Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema up top and everything. And genuinely, in a matter of 5 seconds, they were from their end at the opposing end and they just banged the goal. What's your theory on why the quality of level of football much lower than it is today? There was something that I forgot. Cafu said, or someone that, or Marcelo said that these days football is played in the academy, and there's nothing wrong playing football with the academy. But we predominantly take kids, parents take their kids, put in the academy straight up. They don't have any experience of football on the streets. They don't know what's it like playing on the streets. They don't know what's it like to play football for fun. Already starting from the childhood, they basically are trained to play football, and it's, as much as they may like it, it also becomes more of a chore. And for me, football to be played to an extent that you want to be played and to get to it anywhere, in my opinion, you need to have fun with it as well. And the biggest fun for me, and just like the way I have read interviews with most of the footballers from the 2000s, 1990s, it all started in the streets. In the backyards, when kids came together after school, after homework was done, playing till the last sun was going down and everything to the last minute. And then when mom calls you home, you ask for 5 more minutes and all this stuff. That's where football begins. And these days, many kids go into this without even playing on the streets. And on top of that as well, by the way, it's on parents. Because parents suck the living fun out of football. I've been to some young kids games that happen before the big matches, right, when I arrive early and everything. And I genuinely don't know how the parents are raising their child, because they're cussing their own child out for him. He's bloody 11 years old and he misses the target. They genuinely cuss him with the worst curse words you can imagine. They cuss the referee. Some fathers go and they want punch up the referee when referee is a 16-year-old, by the way, and everything. There's also parenting issue in that regard, because parents think that their child is the next Messi and Ronaldo. But by the letter of the law, 1 in about 500,000 becomes a professional footballer and makes a good living out of it. So you much rather support your child rather than make him miserable and blame everyone else besides yourself. If you want him to be the best, help him. Play with him in the backyard. Teach him some stuff. Personally, work one-on-one. Not cuss him out when he misses empty goal and call him a useless piece of shit. That's what I've heard in the stands. Parents calling their own child a useless piece of shit when he misses empty net. Like, there is also a parenting issue in that regard. Everyone thinks they have the next Messi or Ronaldo. And when some other kid gets played instead of their kid, right? They instantly say, oh, the coach is useless, sack him. Instantly. It's also that. Much lower today than it was before, yeah. Top 5 sports I like to watch. football, basketball, hockey, F1, and the fifth one, I'm just thinking about what I'm watching. I would say wrestling, but that's not a sport. It's an entertainment. Well, technically, it is an entertainment sport, but I can't put wrestling in top 5 because I don't watch it as much. I would say floorball. Let's just say this: floorball. Wingers should be making defenders struggle, give them fear by just touching the ball. When yeah, should, but they're not. I remember when Delta Rapt made the defender turn inside out with his skills. Yeah, Yannick Balassi and everything. The streets won't forget these ballers. There isn't pressure from the attackers now, just run with pace. Yeah, these days, if you have semi-decent touch, you can run fast, and you are somewhat strong on feet with the ball, you'll have instantly made it. You instantly get paid about 50 to 100 grand a week. Instantly. That's how it is. That's how it looks on the pitch, mostly on Premier League as well, by the way. But that's how it looks. As long as you can do those 3 things, you're good. You're solid. You're already done, basically. My own little theory about the quality of football is that advent of social media and the much greater online distractions for players, more money and less hunger. Also, the testosterone levels decrease in generation. Yeah, it is also that, yeah. The social media is ruining everything. People these days care more about their brand, establishing, getting more money. What incentive does kids have these days when a 16-year-old in the academy is earning 15,000 a week? What incentive? Because if they get promoted even higher, which they're gonna do if they're already on 15,000 a week, which means you're one of the better players in the academy, right? You're gonna get 30, 40, 50,000 a week. That's 200 a month. And then in span of half a year, you rock up to the stadium in a Lamborghini. Like, it makes no sense. It's kind of ass backwards in that regard. The paying structure, social media, listening to all this stuff, and they care more about their Instagram reel than actually football skills and everything. It's actually kind of nuts. Same as Ben White. Ben White is a good footballer, don't get me wrong. But imagine how good he would be if he actually cared about football. Ben White has said it himself. He doesn't watch football. He plays, he trains, that's about it. He doesn't watch football outside of that. And now imagine if he actually studied the game day in, day out like they did back in the day, for example. You rarely see people excited to watch football match nowadays. Football would make anyone jump out of their sleep. Now football just... Yeah, that it is these days. It's robotic. It's very stagnant. It's very boring. The technology, the evolution of the style of play, and also the evolution of AI these days has kind of ruined it quite a bit, in my opinion, to this extent as well. It's because these parents regret they could have never played football and lived. Yeah, they are not allowing kids live their own dreams. They make live their dreams. Footballers nowadays don't care about football. They just want the money, fame that comes. Exactly, like that is the case. Look at Maldini with his son. He doesn't even care his son plays. Well, when his son scored against AC Milan, he was mad as fuck. Can't even happy his son. To be honest, that I understand to some extent. That I understand because Maldini is kind of AC Milan through and through, isn't he? So if you kind of score against your own team, like, he is happy that his son scored. Don't get me wrong. He's just pissed off that AC Milan are sucking. To some extent, you could tell he doesn't watch football today based on his... Yeah, that is the case. Benny Blanche, man, I know football isn't that exciting nowadays, but come on, man. Yeah, exactly, that is the case, and he takes it seriously as long as he can get it, and that's about it. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Like, it is what it is. But you cannot expect everything from everyone, can you? At the end of the day. You will have some hardworking people, some will have talent. But at the end of the day, hard work always is gonna get further ahead than the talent will take you anyways. Because the talent needs to be worked on. Because that arguably is the perfect comparison for Messi and Ronaldo. People want to compare Messi and Ronaldo as much as they want. And they're gonna argue about this for generations, what it feels like. But they're two great footballers. Why can't you enjoy them while they still play? One is very talented. That is Messi. One has achieved everything through hard work. Because there's no argument that both of them are very talented, right? But there's also no argument that Messi is more talented than Ronaldo is. At the same time, Ronaldo, there's 100% no argument that Ronaldo is working 10 times harder than Messi to be where he is today. Let's be real. Like, they pushed each other to maximum extent, to higher grounds, and there you cannot make any arguments that both of them have worked hard, but there's always someone who's gonna work harder than the other one. Messi has the talent that backs him up. Ronaldo has the hard work. And it is what it is. I guess it is what it is in that regard. So yeah. Any other questions anyone want to ask? Any other questions anyone wants to ask? Because I think I'm gonna end it in 5 minutes, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. If you haven't already, by the way, subscribe, like the stream, and leave your questions down in the live chat as well. Football isn't a joke; it's a serious job. You can be great talent, and people won't remember you, or you can work hard like Ronaldo and become exactly. That is the thing. There are so many failed wonder kids these days. Like, remember Jose Rodriguez at Real Madrid? Remember Jose Rodriguez at Real Madrid? He was supposed to be the next Ronaldo. He is now playing where, in Japan, or where is he playing even? I don't even know. Saudi Arabia? Nobody has heard ever of him. Ever. Anymore. Gabriel Bertan, the French winger from Newcastle or Man United, depends when you first time saw him. He was the next big thing. Where is he now? Mastour from Morocco. He was the next big thing. Nobody has ever heard of him anymore. El Shaarawy was supposed to be the next big thing, but obviously he didn't pan out. Bonaparte as well was the next big thing for Italy as well. Nobody has ever heard of him. And there are insane amounts of these players. Insane. Remember Arsenal fans hyping up Charlie Patino to be the next Aaron Ramsey, Wilshere, Cesc Fabregas? He's playing now in Deportivo La Coruña in 2nd division and barely getting any game time there. Like, there are many of these. Miguel Aziz, CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo training regimes and all this stuff, flexing muscles and all that crap. He's playing in Spanish 2nd division. Like, you can flex all you want, but unless you work hard, it's all up to you. Who are your favorite Arsenal YouTubers? Oh, bloody hell. This will sound very weird for very bad reasons, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna say Curtis Shaw TV, 100%. Curtis Shaw TV. Curtis, the Big C, he's one of the GOATs, 100%. Lee Gunner, 100%, no argument about that. Those two. Wait. Dan Potts, that's 3. I'm just thinking about it. Turkish LDN, that's 4. There's Northside, that's 5. And I'm just going off who I watch the most. I have it like they also actually are on YouTube. They're kind of basically put in your order. Oh, AC Milan scored, by the way. No, Atalanta scored 1-0. Atalanta scored 1-0 against AC Milan. Ederson scored. What another guy Arsenal should sign. And there is another one. If I can find him, let me check quickly. I'm genuinely checking on YouTube this right now. Jez was a fantastic to watch, but he has now retired from YouTube, from his own channel. He's gonna be just on streams randomly. I generally cannot find it. Well, it is what it is, I guess, in that regard. It is what it is. There is another one, but I just cannot find him on top of my head at the moment, unfortunately. Just cannot find him. If you could, any player from your rivals in their prime, who would... If I could do what? If you could, any player, could what? Personally different knock, Mr. Oh, big up. Big up. What's going on with Lookman, man? He ain't playing like he did last. Yeah, he definitely isn't. Curtis Shaw. Yeah, Vax, man. When he was doing Arsenal stuff, he was fantastic to watch. He was always live. 15 past the hour, 15 past 11. UK time, morning coffee gang and all that stuff. that was one of my first streams I always watched when I was at work because it was the earliest. Then I would switch to the next ones, but yeah, he was definitely one to watch. Yeah. 11, 15 settings and all that stuff. Coffee gang and everything. Those were the days. Those were the days. Shame he doesn't, although his second channel is doing very good, I'm not gonna lie. Wax Unfiltered. In that regard, he's doing very well. Big up, by the way. Big up, Pepper. Take from any rival. From Spurs, I don't want anyone. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want that nasty Gene here. Chelsea. Cole Palmer, I would take from Chelsea. From Liverpool, I would take... I don't actually know from Liverpool. Gravenberch. Man United, I would take Bruno Fernandes. As weird as it sounds, I would take Bruno Fernandes. Who else is left from all these morons up there, top 6? From City, I would take... Ooh, City. Well, it has to be Haaland, kind of, doesn't it? Nah, I don't want Haaland. Screw that. I would take Rodrigo to replace Partey. That's one. I would take Rodrigo. Take them in their prime and sign them for Arsenal. If it's from current teams, if it's from olden, that's a completely different story. Edu Daly, yeah, you just had to be there. Edu Gaspar Daly. Man, I want... Vax, did Vax even stream when Edu resigned? He streamed for a bit, but has he streamed about Andrea Berta being appointed? I don't think he has, because I haven't seen him live at all. Ironically enough. I haven't seen him live almost for, like, it feels like a decade. Yeah, he hasn't streamed since Edu left. There is hope maybe that with summer he comes back, but I don't think so. He's kind of focused on the second channel where it looks that way. Marmouche from City. Interesting. And what's a player Arsenal was linked that you wanted to sign? Well, pick your poison. We have been linked with every goddamn player in the world. If it was from Wenger time, there's Cristiano Ronaldo, Luis Suarez, Karim Benzema. If it was from the recent times, in 2016, we were Fede Valverde was at Arsenal doing his tryouts. Arsenal didn't sign him, them bloody morons, and everything. Pick your poison. Pick your poison. Yeah. Vax Unfiltered. Yeah. It is Vax Unfiltered, the second channel. Yeah. It's the next one. Yeah. Yeah, it's Wax Unfiltered. And personally, for me, Ruiz, Mbuemo, Gyökeres, Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo, Valverde, there was Benzema. Luis Suarez was at the time as well, and everything. We had a chance to sign such good players, just if we weren't morons, I'm not gonna lie. That would have been kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it is what it is. It genuinely is what it is. Arsenal have had so many chances and they always have fucked it up, unfortunately. Dude, we wanted Benzema in his prime when he was after Leon. I think it was after Leon, I think. He was actually very good. Calm the fuck down. Calm the F down. But yeah. I think we have talked enough. If you don't have... Are you winning the Champions League this season? Are we winning, sorry. What is your gut saying? Are we winning this season? The hopium and copium is that we are winning it, right? Realistically... It depends. It really depends now on PSG game, how that goes and what injuries we don't have. What injuries we have free. But ultimately, will we win Champions League this season? That's the only thing we can hold on to, so... I would say we won't win it. We won't. I think we can make it to the finals But in the finals, it might be pain. I think that. Obviously, my heart as an Arsenal fan is saying we're gonna win it. But if I look from realistic point of view, I think we will fall a bit short at some point, at some stage. We'll point genuinely a goal short. We're gonna fall. So I think we are not gonna win it. My brain is saying no, my heart is saying yes, which it seems the obvious answer in that regard. But yeah, personally, if Arteta wins Champions League, build a statue outside the Emirates and everything, you know. But yeah, I think on that note, I think I'm gonna end today's stream. Nice, chill, relaxing session and everything. Hope you had a great time. If you have any more questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell as well. Like the stream and everything. Help us get to 500 subscribers so we can do some more stuff on this channel. And yeah, for today I'm gonna sign out. So take care, stay safe. See you all tomorrow. Hopefully with some positive Arsenal news. Maybe, who knows. But yeah, for today I am out. Take care. Enjoy WrestleMania. NBA playoffs are happening. Celtics have been playing for almost an hour. I'm gonna go watch NBA right now. So yeah, enjoy your time, relax, and chill. Big up.